Hollywood, a name synonymous with glitz, glamour, and a history of cinema that dates back to the early 20th century. They say there's no business like show business. And rising in the East is an interest in learning the tricks of the trade. For Hollywood, that means open Chinese checkbooks. Over the last decade, this courtship between China and Hollywood has caught the eye of film industry analysts, eager to find out how the love affair will unfold. With China set to overtake the US as the world's biggest film market, one question in particular resonates. Will the Middle Kingdom one day outgrow Hollywood? The curtain is raised on their relationship at events like this, the Beijing International Film Festival. It's an opportunity to celebrate China's domestic film industry and attract stars, producers and filmmakers from Hollywood who are willing to tap into the country's huge potential audience.
So it's events like this where you've got big stars like Natalie Portman attending, but it's also prime time for networking between industry insiders in Hollywood and right here in Beijing.
On the surface, it looks like schmoozing and shoulder rubbing, but in the case of Hollywood and China, the stakes are high, and two willing sides can be brought to the negotiating table quickly. Over the past few years, Chinese investment in Hollywood has been picking up momentum, with media and internet companies rallying round to acquire Hollywood assets. In 2014, Chinese private equity group Honey Capital invested in STX Entertainment, and in June this year, US-Chinese group Tang Partners brought Hollywood studio IM Global. Co-financing deals have also been struck between production companies in Hollywood and Jack Ma's Alibaba. One of the biggest players has been Dalian Wonder Group, which made the boldest leap into the Hollywood market earlier this year, when it bought a controlling share of legendary East for $3.5 billion. Wonder also owns movie theatre chain AMC. What can you learn from Hollywood?
Well, a lot, a great deal. See, I just produced, we 100% financed a US film last year. It's called Southpaw, okay? And acting as an executive producer, we are putting up the money for this film, partly because of the investment is a good investment, and also mostly because we want to learn the whole process, from how they negotiate the deal and how they greenlight a project. Most importantly, how they manage a production and then distribute worldwide and make the film travel the whole world. And that's something that we should keep learning and keeping our eyes open for that.
Indeed, while Wonder, along with other Chinese companies, is investing in Hollywood, it's aware of the industry potential in its own backyard. China's sheer population alone makes it the potential cash cow of the film industry. Judging by the latest box office receipts, it won't be long before the Middle Kingdom becomes the world's biggest film market. In the first quarter of this year, China's box office revenue surged 50%. That's in line with rises seen last year. If that trend continues, the projected total revenue in China for the year will be $10 billion. Over in the US, currently the world's biggest market, total revenue last year from ticket sales hit $11 billion. China is closing in, and analysts predict that it could exceed the US market by as early as next year. That means it's a hot market to watch, and Hollywood has made no secret of the fact that it wants a slice of the pie.
These are all new theaters. They're being built at 5,000 or 10,000 theaters a year, and this is virtually a brand new experience. So it is a great time to make movies in China, and it's a great time to see movies in China.
This co-production film industry is really big business. I mean, there are companies that deal only with co-productions. You've got legal companies, technology companies, firms that deal with merchandising and production. So really, if you're a Hollywood filmmaker that wants to work in China or release a film in China, all your needs are technically covered, at a cost, of course.
One of the benefits of working with a Chinese distributor is it helps boost your chances of clinching one of the 34 slots allocated to foreign films that can be shown in China each year.
Extinction.
Even if the price is right, striking a deal can mean negotiating over the content of a movie as well.
Co-production is very hard to achieve a successful one, because you have to realize in China co-production means that not only co-finance, but also you need to have 1/3 of the actor paid by Chinese actor or actress, and you need to have Chinese element, and sometimes you need to shoot location here in China.
That was the case for 2012 movie Looper, a co-production between Los Angeles-based Endgame Entertainment and China's DMG. It was decided that Chinese actress Xu Qing would be cast in the film as Bruce Willis's love interest, and part of the movie would be set in Shanghai.
I'm going to France. You should go to China. I'm going to France. I'm from the future. You should go to China.
Critics argue that trying to please both a Chinese and Western audience can come at a cost to the story itself. Bridging the cultural divide remains the biggest hurdle.
So what has happened, obviously, is Chinese companies have taken a slightly different strategy, which is to make investment in Western films. What we've also seen is Western films that have maybe embraced Chinese elements a little somewhat randomly, somewhat for the purpose of making it appealing or palatable in China. I think Chinese audiences don't really want that particularly. I think when they see those elements being put together in that way, it's not exactly the essence or the soul of what they're after, which is purely having Chinese stories being told.
I can see recently there are a lot of Chinese companies, like big companies like Wonder, other companies trying to acquire Hollywood companies. We probably have a different take. We do not want to just make a East meets West movie. We want to discover young talent here, and we want to find interesting project that intrigue and connect the audience here.
In search of new talent, Carrie Wong joined a panel of judges for a competition at the Beijing Film Festival. 4 young Chinese directors were given 20 minutes to pitch their story idea to the judges. In the end, it was 27-year-old Leila Ji from Shenyang and her film that won the judges over. Her prize was a trip to Hollywood and a filmmaking training course sponsored by the Motion Picture Association of America.
Now I see, just from a personal experience, there are a lot of opportunities right now. So companies start to actually realize in the long-term process it's actually important to start investing in young filmmakers and help them grow. A lot of the filmmakers right now in around my age had the education background from like either the States or England, or they came from abroad, but they also have this Chinese culture inside them.
Leila told us about a Chinese film she and a group of other young directors were helping to promote. The Song of the Phoenix follows the relationship between the master and apprentice of the suona, an ancient instrument facing extinction in modern China. The art house film was directed by 4th-generation director Wu Tianming, who died in 2014 shortly after post-production. Despite acclaim from critics, the movie tanked during its debut, earning just $236,000 in its first 3 days.
A lack of funding meant that The Song of the Phoenix had to delay its release date until early May. It was the same day that Captain America, the Hollywood blockbuster, opened in Chinese cinemas. After just a fortnight, the Disney-backed film had earned $150 million at the box office here, eclipsing the art house film.
Chinese cinema market is still in the early development stage. Many theaters are newly built up. So many cinema theater managers are still lack of experience. They just simply listen to the news medium to see who have a bigger scale promotion, who have the star casting. That's why this film really fell into a difficult situation.
Feng Li and his company Laurel Films, whose credits include Lost in Beijing, set about convincing investors to help distribute the movie.
We watched this film together, Son of Phoenix. I turned around, stayed a few minutes to control myself, turn back. Everybody can see, I was in tears. So then we start discuss about, such a wonderful film. We have to do something.
There were like 200 people that I could see in a WeChat group that just started off all volunteers trying to help with the distribution of this project. It's a touching film. I was very inspired by it and I want more people to see it. It's a very simple reason why I wanted to be involved. But I think for all of us, I think there's kind of like this responsibility thing, as a filmmaker ourselves who want more people to know these kind of films exist.
Feng Li was brought to his knees, literally, during a live stream video broadcast. The respected producer begged theatre managers to give The Song of the Phoenix more screenings. The clip went viral and hit headlines all over the country, and it evoked sympathy over in Hollywood too.
I am urging you to take the opportunity to see this lovely film in theaters as was meant to be seen, and to remember its creator, Wu Tianming, a true giant of cinema.
Chinese audiences responded by buying tickets to see the film. Executives of various cinema chains pledged to increase screenings at their theatres. The film's earnings skyrocketed to $4.4 million, 13 times that of its debut. The fight for The Song of the Phoenix to get a fair go in Chinese theatres became a grassroots movement championing independent cinema itself in a market saturated by commercial offerings.
All the volunteers feel very proud to participate in this action. So this is a part of Chinese cinema history, is the only one time.
It's not just about this one instrument, it's also about the spirit behind it, And this one instrument actually represents all different kinds of art forms, even like, let's say, like art films in China,
Indeed, this was a case of life imitating art. The story of an ancient musical instrument struggling to be heard amid the buzz of the modern world parallels the film's own struggle to get noticed in cinemas. But The Song of the Phoenix success could signal a wider change.
I feel really good about Chinese young audience. Can understand, can be touched by Son of Phoenix. That's the hope of a Chinese market. You have a good audience base.
That has Hollywood producers shuffling their chairs forward with interest. Ironically, Captain America directors Anthony and Joe Russo are now setting up Anthem Pictures, which will produce Chinese-language films for the domestic market.
The marketplace for the Chinese filmmakers is at an all-time high. Audiences are receiving these movies tremendously. They cater to the domestic audience. There are themes that people can relate to. I think it's the heyday right now for Chinese filmmakers. The question becomes, will the Chinese films at any level, whether they be blockbusters or, more interesting type of films, will they travel globally the way the American and or the European films travel?
And that seems to be the question of the moment. Can Chinese themes, fables, humour and taste attract an international audience? After all, despite domestic success, movies such as The Mermaid, released earlier this year, have made little impact on the global market.
If Chinese film can be distributed in the US, your risk get low. If we talk about same investment, your income get doubled, for instance, which will help with filmmaking. But the biggest challenge is how to appeal. If we are able to build a story which will appeal to both markets, that's a real production.
Why I want to make film is because I see it as a language. It's a way that I communicate my idea with the audience. So I definitely want more people to see it. And there's definitely something, between human beings that's universal, that's gonna be helpful in this process.
Whether China will outgrow Hollywood and have its stories told to the world is still in question. But when it comes to Sino-US co-production, perhaps it isn't simply about cash-strapped producers in the West making the most of keen investors in the East. There seems to be a deeper plot. And all eyes are on these two players to see how this real-life drama unfolds.